Hey everyone, welcome back to MetalDisciple.com's 365 Days of Metal. My name is George and this is day 342. 9 years ago today, the fucking crazy bastard known as Nathan Gale snuck into the Damageplan show in Columbus, Ohio, and killed 4 people, including Damageplan and Pantera guitar legend Dimebag Darrell Abbott. Gale was a paranoid schizophrenic and supposed Pantera fan, but for whatever twisted reason, he decided it was a good idea to try to kill his idols. He shot Darrell 4 times in the head with a 9mm handgun, and then also killed Damageplan head of security Jeff Thompson, venue employee Aaron Hawk, and audience member Nathan Bray. Officer James Niggemeyer maneuvered through the back door to get behind Gale and shot him in the face with a 12-gauge, killing Gale and avoiding further injury to Gale's hostage, Damageplan drum tech John Brooks, who had by then sustained 3 gunshot wounds. I remember exactly where I was the next morning. A friend called me up and told me to look on CNN. I had just gotten into work and was turning on my computer. I told my friend he must be mistaken about who it was. My friend wasn't a real metal fan. But once I got online, the shocking truth rocked me back in my chair and left me feeling disoriented. I couldn't believe something like that could actually happen. It just seemed so unreal. The world lost an amazing talent and personality that day, and every year since, on December 8th, I play almost exclusively Pantera and Damageplan in honor of Dime. I say almost exclusively because December 8th is truly a bad day for music, as today is also the 33rd anniversary of the killing of John Lennon. So I listen to the Beatles and Lennon music as well sometimes. Back in the late 80s, while I was in high school, my first job was working as a bagger at a Kroger grocery store in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Working there, I met this guy that was a few years older than me. He was a metalhead and he was from Texas. He kept going on and on about some friends of his from back home in Texas who had a band and how great they were. Well, lots of people have bands that never become anything, so I didn't really pay much attention. Eventually, the guy told me that his friends were coming to town to do some show at some bar, and he wanted me to go with him. He said it would be cool, and he'd introduce me to his friends. As I'm sure you've probably figured out by now, the band was called Pantera. To my eternal remorse, I declined to go to the show. I was thinking to myself, what kind of name is Pantera? I looked it up and found out it was Spanish for panther. That didn't sound nearly as impressive as band names like Metallica, Megadeth, or Slayer. Panther. Nah. I figured that would probably be pretty awful, so I made up an excuse not to go, much to my eventual chagrin. So a couple years later, in the summer of 1990, I saw Cowboys from Hell in the music store, and I recognized the band name as being that of the band I could have seen. I looked it over and decided to give it a try and see if it was any good. I don't need to tell you that it was. The early 90s were a bit of a rough time for me, and Cowboys from Hell, along with Voivod's Nothing Face, really helped me get through that period with my sanity mostly intact. I have very strong memories associated with that album. Cowboys and the next album, Vulgar Display of Power, would end up being my favorite Pantera albums, but all their albums are classics. I sort of figured Pantera would get back together eventually, but obviously that won't happen now. Nathan Gale made sure of it. I regret that I missed my chance to meet the band. I think it's terrible that Phil never got to make up with Dime. I'm sad for all the music we won't ever hear now. But at least we have a bunch of music to remember Dime by. Check out today's playlist for some music featuring the mighty metal god, Dimebag Darrell Abbott. Me, I'm going to raise a black-tooth grin in Dime's honor. Here's to all the fallen brothers and sisters of metal. Get your pull. See you next.